From what I found so far, I'm still not convinced in all this ghostly paranormal business, so I'm off to Bath to visit Malcolm, who's going to take me on a ghost tour in the historic city to see what I can uncover. I'm in Bath and I'm going to go on a ghost walk. Should be very interesting. We started the tour outside the Garrett's Head pub in the city centre, where many ghostly sightings have been recorded. The tour guide Malcolm gave us a big insight into the history of the area and told us many interesting things, such as the ghost of a woman appearing every August inside the pub after she killed herself in the 1800s by jumping from the top of the building. The smell of jasmine is said to mysteriously form around this time. Many people have seen the woman appear and then suddenly disappear into thin air.
So they got to the stairs where he paused and came down very deliberately. 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, 4, and each step got fainter and fainter and fainter. Reached the 4th step, in and out like a candle, then gone. We're going that way. You'll notice temperature changes, and we're ready for part 1. Part 1 is descriptive, part 2 is an experience, part 3, spirits who want to meet you.
There's definitely something in there, a bit weird, I think. No, I mean, it's a good tour, but I don't know. I'm feeling it at the moment.
We are now stood in a corridor of 2 ley lines. If anything dies traumatically or violently in a corridor of 2 ley lines, spirit remains in a form of limbo in that area. So all the long dead losers of all the duels, they're in part 3.
So far the tour has been interesting, but I still haven't seen a ghost for myself, so Malcolm has led us down to an area of Bath where lords and members of society would duel to the death to settle petty arguments over who was braver and more gallant. Malcolm told us about a bush that was placed here, and if you hold your hands out in front of you, you would feel the spirits of the duellers pull you in to join them. I decided to test this theory for myself. It was very strange. I came over suddenly dizzy and sick. I couldn't explain it. I didn't feel like I was being pulled in, but there was something there. That seriously is. It's kind of weird. It really is. Malcolm then told us about a tree which had special healing powers. It is said to cure any illness, and you can wish your friends and family well when you touched it. I don't think so. I don't know, there's something about this place. I don't know whether it's because he's told us about it. I felt that I was highly entertained by the tour, but I couldn't find anything to sway my views completely. When standing by the bush I did feel sick and uneasy, but Malcolm did explain this may happen before, so maybe it was just my subconscious mind playing tricks on me. This leads me to believe there can always be some explanation behind these kind of events. It was definitely a worthwhile tour, but I'm a little let down that I didn't find anything more.
Joe and myself have now come to Yeovil Port to see if we can take our investigation further. We're here to visit Anne Bennett, who has lots of interesting information and stories to tell us.
So hi Anne, first question, do you believe in ghosts?
Yes, I do. Yes, through my experiences.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, would you like to tell us about some of your experiences?
I first was aware of what I think the poltergeist when my son was about 14, 1979. Very strange. Poltergeists are mischievous, and this was a mischievous happening. I put the car into the drive full of shopping, opened it all up, no electrical locks on a car then, gone into the house, hung the keys up, started unloading the shopping that I'd taken in, went back to get the next load, and all the door locks on the car were firmly shut. Had to go and get the keys and unlock the car again. Really? No explanation, nobody else there, just me. Then a few things happened, like dishes coming off of shelves. You just catch them out of the corner of your eye before they crash. Nobody else in the house.
So this was all in 79?
That was all 79.
And then you said about your friend Michael in 1982?
Yeah, in 1982, my friend Michael Crocker was murdered in Trinidad.
So what was the, you say he was murdered in Antigua. What was the story behind that? Did they find the person?
Yes, the Guianan seaman had come off of a big ship out in the bay, rowed up to Mike's boat, British flag, thought there'd be money on board, and came in through the forepeak. There were 2 people asleep in the forepeak of the yacht, and he set about them with a knife. He nearly killed the man. The man was in hospital for a long time. The wife was all right. And he made Michael Crocker and Trish, the wife, go into the main cabin and made Trish tie Mike up. Mike was telling her all the time to jump over the side and go and get help, which she did. She ran ashore, but the time she got back out onto the yacht with help, he was dead. He'd been strangled, and that's all supported by newspaper cuttings.
Yeah, we've got some here, actually.
Yeah,
should we have a
loads
look?
of newspaper cuttings. I'd had a third share in a yacht with him, and I knew him quite well. And he was murdered by a Guianan seaman who subsequently hung. Now Mike's body was brought back to England with the yacht, and he appeared before burial at the bottom of my bed one night, just as I'd always known him, fully dressed, and I was actually talking to him, and he said, "I want you to phone my wife and ask her not to put the boulder on my grave as a headstone. I don't want it. I want a piece of the teak wood that's left from the cabin, from the yacht that he built to go to Trinidad." He said, "There's enough wood left of this lovely teak, and I want it made into a crucifix and mounted on iron so that when it goes in the ground it won't go rotten." Well,
So
this
he
had
came to you then?
He came to me. Yeah. So I had a very nasty night because I was crying and never had seen a ghost before.
Did he just contact you, or did he go to other people?
He subsequently, there were notices in the paper that other people had heard from him, and I did phone his wife in the morning, and she said, "Oh, you're not the only one that's phoned me that he's appeared to." Yeah.
As you can see, it's all in the newspapers. It went into the local and into national news as well. So it's quite a big.
Well, he was
event.
quite famous.
Yeah. Well, you described him.
And being a local shoe mender, he was known. Henley's full of people from the theatre and famous people that live there. George Harrison's got a house there, and all sorts of people. And so they all knew Mike. He was quite a loved person. So the funeral went ahead, and he did have the boulder from Wales, from his rock climbing days, and that was that.
So have you had anything else recently?
I went to a friend's funeral, a lady who, her partner died, and this lady earns her living by reading palms, and she makes a great deal of money out of it. And at the funeral, all of a sudden in this deathly quiet church, the chandeliers all started swinging round and round.
Since we have more evidence to support the idea of ghosts being real, I believe there's more of a chance of them being real than them not being real. However, I wouldn't call myself a true believer.
No, I'm still not convinced. I think my interview with Carl showed me that it's really easy to manipulate images and videos. So I've come to the conclusion that this is just people looking to showcase their talents.
Yeah, but what about the interview with Anne? She seemed to have some rather good points about ghosts.
The interview with Anne was quite interesting because she seemed like a really nice lady, but I just couldn't believe what she was saying, so why would she lie?
So I guess we're split then. After all the evidence we gathered, we still have no definite answer to prove that ghosts exist.
I guess that sums up pretty well.